What I'm hearing is just a business, an entrepreneur who has a plan and wants to translate this plan into something results. In this case, results in business are measured in monetary terms. And so it's managing the many variables in that space to give you that desired result.
Today we want to take it a step further and talk about something else. So here I am, a business owner. I have this strategy. It's in place. How do I get it moving? Because business is not an event. It's a lifestyle of every day. Every day I go to work, I have to build this thing. What are some key factors, gentlemen, that we can look at that can help this person begin to gain momentum and ultimately achieve the goal that he had set out to achieve?
For an entrepreneur, I think it starts vice versa. I hope it does for everyone. If it doesn't, it should. That we start by first identifying need. Is there need sufficient? Is there demand sufficient for me to jump into? Then, so that now I may build around it. Because if not, then you may build around an assumption.
Okay.
Yeah. Regardless how well you do it, if it's an assumption, unfortunately it will crash. So let's assume that they have identified a need. And they're like, people actually need red ties. And now that people need red ties, the supply of red ties is low. So if I bring red ties, I can charge at premium. Yeah. And I can get them at cheap. Then they jump in and now they realize all I need to do first is close my off-takers and go around and say, because sometimes people start with the product without knowing that it will be bought. Let's assume they go to all the off-takers, all the interested parties that are willing to buy red ties, and they get 50. What would you do if I brought you a red tie? I would buy 3. What would you do? I'd buy 2, I'd buy 15. Okay, great. I have an order or a probable order of 30 ties. Then jump into the market, try get the best ties, look for the best person who irons ties exclusively, and now deliver them and let them know. In the case your friends as well need red ties. So I think priority is phased, is in phases. There is a certain phase of priority that you do. Then when you accomplish it, you skip, you focus on a different phase.
Yeah. Just to take you on that, the idea of establishing need. There's the risk or the danger of an entrepreneur venturing into something because they are passionate about it. And it's not the market that needs it, but I love this thing. And I don't feel the need to establish how much demand is there. Is the demand concentrated enough to create a business, or is it a one? In the case of the red tie, for example, there could be an event. It could be Valentine's and people want that red tie. But then there wouldn't be business after that. So I may find that the need, yes, is there, but it will not be there for long. So it may not, this business will not be a going concern. Soon I'll have to fold up because there wasn't enough demand to keep the business going. So it's important as an entrepreneur to establish the demand that exists and is concentrated enough, and that can only come through some due diligence, some bit of research, and bounce ideas of a friend who can ask you those hard questions which you could be blinded to in your passion to jump in. Someone will ask you, what did you do to establish this is a real need before you get into it?
Okay. I'm wondering how do I break down this strategy? Because we're talking about somebody here who has a strategy, and sometimes when you look at a strategy, let's imagine Vision 2030, yeah, or the Big Four agenda. These are huge things, yeah. And my business is to become the largest supplier of red ties across Africa. it looks nice on paper, but how do I break that down and start working towards it? Because like I said, that will not be an event. I won't have one event one day and suddenly I am the largest supplier of red ties in Africa. How do I break this down to eventually get to here?
If you're venturing into business and for instance you need financing from a financial institute like a bank, they would typically ask for a business plan. And what they're looking for is that the thinking that has gone into this idea. They want to see the thinking that you put into it. Many times when you ask people to put together a document like that, they would feel it's too much work, and it is work because it's just thought and you have to think about many aspects of it. Now, once you have a strategy and you want to translate it into actions, you need to break it down into daily activities that you can do progressively. And if you can be able to measure those, and if I stayed consistently doing these particular aspects of the business, it will likely to move the business in the direction that I want to go.
There's a keyword you've used there, measure. Is it important to measure my daily, and what's the importance of that?
Actually, it is because of the limited resource we have, time and energy. They say the most successful business leaders manage their energy better than they manage their time. And that's a very interesting approach because your productivity is not necessarily time bound, it's energy bound. And sometimes we may overemphasize about time, and the time we are talking about is wristwatch, and it's not necessarily so. Because when people say time is money, they are talking about shelf life. For how long will you have your energy? For how long will you be in your productive prime before someone else can outrun you? So therefore energy becomes so important, and measuring is therefore, what do I do that I can sustain? Because if I can't sustain, I'll burn out. So it has to be measured, and the new smart in this day and age is less for more. So you have to learn to prune your tree as much as possible, because if you don't prune your tree, you don't just lose money, you lose shelf life, literally. Your business can only last so long because you're stretched so thin. You'll be auctioned sooner or later. They'll shut down your lights sooner or later. So sometimes ambition needs to be measured as well. And we say, okay, can I start small as I dream big?
In a case where somebody is starting a business and the only thing, if a business exists to get and keep a customer, and I want to start my own enterprise, the first thing I should do is go out there and find a customer. And even though I may not have a very well written blueprint or what you'd call a strategy, what I lack in strategy and skills, I can more than compensate and make up through grit and tenacity. So instead of seeing 5 customers, I'll see 50. You understand? Because I may lack some of these other technical aspects of it, but I know what I need is a customer. And I'll make up for what I lack in skills through just a commitment to go out there. So some people will say, oh, I need a business card, I need a car, I need a new modern suit, and all those are just bells and whistles. But get your hands dirty, just go out there and outdo the other person, see more customers, potential customers, and the numbers will begin to change. A time will come when you can afford the business cards, you can afford the lunches and all the other nice things that go with being a successful salesperson in the case of sales, because you need to get a customer. Nothing happens until a sales happens. There is no business until a sale has happened.
I hope it makes sense from this perspective. The art of a good entrepreneur is to look for domino opportunities. Domino opportunities is where, as much as I have these red ties and no order yet, if I give one red tie to James Okumu, then Philip and Ethnic will buy 2 ties. And you find the world is going to that direction, where you're trying to strategically position, even though it may not be profitable, then it becomes profitable because of the positioning. And now all of a sudden influencers are such a big deal because they have a domino effect. Yeah. Oh, you're going to perform somewhere. How many people will you perform to? 10,000. Where my jersey? Where my hat? Where my... And the 10,000 people see you and they'll... Let's assume, even them they want.
Yeah.
And an entrepreneur's work is to look for domino effects because organic 1 + 1 is too slow. So it has to come from that place of now conserving energy while thinking smart.
That's all the time we have for tonight. I remember a friend of mine once told me, because he writes books, and I was asking him, how are you able to write books? And he gave me this illustration. He said, don't look at the whole book. Look at one word. Look at one page. And he says, I pick a topic. I decide it has to have 12 chapters. I decide every day I'll write this many words. And so I don't focus on the book. I just focus on today I need to write my 300 words. And I write my 300 words and I'm good. And before long, I have a book. And I think that's what we are saying here tonight on this podcast, that where are you going? This is where you're going as a business. What does every department need to do and focus on consistently? Because once you get those things in place, it will get the whole business where it needs to go. Thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.
Next time on Clean Money Monday.
On this episode, I want us to begin a new topic. Yeah? Maybe it's something we should have begun with, but hey, all things work together for good. Recruiting. Recruiting is a very critical part for an entrepreneur. And sometimes people are afraid because they're thinking, I don't have enough resources, or maybe they overlook the whole thing because if anything must be done well, I must be the one to do it. So maybe let's begin this conversation by asking, at what point does one get to a place where they need to start thinking about recruiting?
This is Clean Money TV.